Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NAPP, Not a Professional Podcast, the show that hopefully won't put you to sleep despite what our name says. It's been a few weeks since I've been recording, and we're back in my basement, so it's a little more echoey than we're used to. With me, as always, is our co-host, Brad. Say hi, Brad.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
I'm so glad. And today we have two very special guests. Say hi, Troy and Josh.
Sup?
Hi, I'm here.
You guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit?
Sure. Who wants to go first?
You go first.
All right. I'm Troy. I'm Jaren's older cousin.
Yeah.
And I am a video game music composer. Been doing video game music since 2023. Got my bachelor's degree in music composition in 2022, and just been chilling, freelancing, no paid gigs yet, but just game jams and whatnot. And Josh here's been getting me into more game jams, and it's been great. He's kind of the guy that gets our stuff, so it's been a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Josh. I'm a sound designer, and I like doing video game programming as well. Troy and I met in college, and afterwards just kind of continually met each other until we decided we wanted to work together. For a day job, I work at an audiobook company. So in the podcast world, I'm really not used to being on this side of the chair. And I'm more used to being on the post-production side of the chair, but I guess I'm here.
Yeah, well, hopefully our mediocre sound design doesn't bug you too much.
Nah, this is great. And I guess I should also mention I'm a sheet music editor. I kind of forget to throw that in there. But right now I work at Jackman Music up in Bountiful.
Okay.
They're the largest publisher of sacred music in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Not officially affiliated, but that's kind of the main clientele. Okay. Like ward choirs and stuff.
Got it.
So I'm their editor and not transcriber. I don't do transcriptions. Although I do I have transcribed like freelance work. But yeah, I do engraving there, and that's a really good time. I'm actually really finding I enjoy doing sheet music a lot. It's not something I expected, but in the year and a half I've been working there, it's I've found I really like that jam. So
cool.
Yeah, it's a good time.
And you guys you're here because you're starting up a game audio company, right?
Yeah. We it was Josh's idea. We're doing a co-op called Mountain Totem Audio Solutions.
Okay.
So
yeah. I just know that both Troy and the video game industry is one that's really difficult to get into, especially as audio professionals. Yep. Requires a lot of work and requires the right in, so to speak. So I felt like working together would give us a bit more motivation to try and make something happen, and also just give us, a chance,
Yeah.
And especially since we've got differing skill sets. I do sound design, I do programming, and he does music. Uh-huh. I can do music, but it's not my first pick, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
It gives us a bigger variety that we can offer to people to say, hey, we can do all of the sound for your game, and not just, I can make a couple sound effects, or, I've got your music, but you'll have to find someone else for the sound,
So that's like your product is you can do a whole game sound library?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so we are a complete package.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and I guess I can also do dialogue if they needed someone to do that, or I also know how to program the sound into the game, which is actually a pretty extensive field by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing. So you have game audio, you have music, you have sound design, like what Josh was talking about. Kind of a branch of that is Foley, where you're actually recording to live video, like making the sounds. With like just it's fun to watch videos of that. But then there's also dialogue, voice acting, in which I guess is dialogue. You have technical sound design, which is like
My favorite field.
yeah, that's kind of what Josh is getting
into. It's programming the audio. So if you're playing a 3D video game, like Skyrim, for example, because a lot of people are going to know what Skyrim is. Sounds happen in locations in the game. And someone needs to tell that sound, this sound is happening over here. Or this is an ambient sound that as you exit the forest and enter the town, the ambient sound goes from birds doing their little songs to like you hear town sounds like horses and people talking to each other and children. And all of that is in the realm of technical audio design. So someone will record all the sound effects and then the technical audio designer will decide how they fit into the game. And that's something that it's hard to learn because there aren't a lot of like professional resources on it, or they're harder to find. But it's very important, and it's something that excites me a lot, and I'm trying my best to learn it.
The kind of related to that, there's also implementation. Like he was talking about sound design, but like implementation is kind of a thing by itself, isn't it? Like just like figuring out, like, because the composer writes the music, but then you have to figure out how it's going to loop in the game, what areas or what events are going to trigger different layers. Like there are these like whole super duper complex maps of how a certain music for, say, like just any given area in a game, like say you have an overworld theme, but then it transfers into a battle theme, which might be a different track. It might add layers to the current track. Then there's like stingers and transitions, and that implementation is also a whole job by itself.
Yeah, it's complicated. Video games are dynamic. It's not like you're watching a movie and the score and the sound just happens as the movie plays. In a video game, you have a lot more choices of what you want to do. You can just choose not to play the game normally, and because of that, the audio kind of needs to evolve with what you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, what are your goals for this company? What do you hope to accomplish?
Find gigs, I guess. I mean, the biggest part of that, honestly, is just meeting people. Like both Josh and I have done networking, like at Game Developers Conference. It happens in San Francisco every March of every year. I've been working that since 2023.
Okay.
Josh has gone to that. There's also Game SoundCon in now it's in Burbank, was in Los Angeles. They do that every October.
Yeah.
I've only been to that once, hoping to go again soon. But there's like these networking conferences. That's kind of the main thing. You meet people, and then it's not like a big thing. Like if anyone is thinking of getting started in games, whether it be in audio or in any other discipline, we like when we start, we have this like, you know, like this almost desperation of like, I need to get a job now. And, you know, it's because a lot of people coming out with degrees and like college degrees and stuff.
Yeah.
And, but the going to a conference with that mindset is not going to benefit you. You want to go to conference with the mindset that you're just going to make friends. And maybe a job will come out of it. It might be then. It might be 5-10 years down the road. But creating that network of friends in the industry is what from what I've been told and what I trust is that is what brings you work down the road. So we're just both networking. And
Troy's really good at making friends. I'm a bit of an introvert, so it comes a little less naturally to me. But I have been making friends, and that's good. And he's also a lot better at avoiding that trap of, I need to get a job now. Because my goal with this company is to try and eventually get it to be full-time for us so that we can just pay all of our bills with it.
Yeah.
And that does create a bit more of an urgency for me to feel like I have to constantly be making something or finding someone or looking for gigs. And when I'm a family guy, I've got 2 kids and I'm busy, it makes it it puts an extra stress on me. So Troy's a good balancing act in that, because he's told me before, we've got 40 years until we retire. Like, that's a good amount of time to try and figure out how this is going to work. So
I like Josh's drive as well, though. He's been the one getting us into game jams and like talking with people, like getting us things to do, and I really appreciate.
In case
that.
you guys don't know what game jams are, it's like a week-long competition where you make a video game in a week. You form a team either with people you know or people you don't know, and sometimes there's a prize money, and usually everyone at the end judges each other's game. Best one wins. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
As a company, we've done 2? 1?
No, we did 2 last year.
But we weren't
we
weren't necessarily a company last year, though.
That is true.
But
that is true.
The best one that we did do was last year, before we had officially decided we were a company. Mm-hmm. And after that one was when I was like, "Hey, we need to be a company."
Yeah.
But we've participated in a number of ones. The best one we did had like 1,500 or like 1,500 games were submitted.
We were like 7.
We were right
something.
kind of right in the middle with how our game ended up. So, but it always is super messy because you only have a week to put together a game with people you don't even know a lot of the time, and but it gives you a good chance to like work on some soft skills like talking to people and organizing a project, but then also crunch and have something to show for it.
Right. No, yeah, a lot of the game jams I've done, like the ones that I've done with Josh have been a lot more successful. But I did 3 before I started working with Josh. I just did Global Game Jam every year between.
Those happen in like January.
That's like January, February. Yeah. Each of the times I've done that, like, we didn't quite get a game out before the deadline. One of them, our programmer got sick in the middle of it, but he ended up finishing the game 6 months later, so that's available on itch. Itch.io is a website that you can publish.
It's like a budget Steam.
Yeah. But then the second one was a mobile one. We got that one done. It was just me and another guy, and that was pretty simple. And then the one I did last year, February of last year, that one just flopped. It was kind of funny though. Like, like the funny thing, when you're working in a game jam, you're like wanting to like you come up with an idea, and oftentimes that idea is really ambitious. For the time crunch. And so that one, we were a little ambitious with our idea. We got like the art done, the programming we were too ambitious on. It was funny though, because I ended up becoming the project manager for that one just because I had the most experience.
tend to do that in game jams too.
Yeah, so it's interesting when you're a music guy and all of a sudden you're managing all the assets and
yeah.
But no, game jams are awesome. Super duper great way to meet people and also just practice doing stuff. It's also a really good way to find out if it's what you like doing or not.
Yeah, I've heard some people, not audio people, but just game developer people in general, that say if you don't want to, don't go to college. I don't know who your audience is, so I don't want to say for them specifically, but some of them say don't go to college, just do a bunch of YouTube tutorial stuff and then participate in game jams, and that's how you can get your game developer experience. Mm-hmm. Of course, that doesn't work for everybody. You have to be very disciplined to learn on your own that way, but the game jam experience can be very, very good for anybody in the game developer world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't drop out of high school. No, maybe you should go to college.
College is good. The thing that college really helps with, though, is finding people, because that's how Troy and I met, and we're trying to make something happen because we found each other in college.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely say the lure for college for me is a lot more about the social aspect than the actual learning.
Right.
Because I feel pretty confident that I could learn my trade, like, outside of a school. I could learn it on YouTube or anything.
Right.
There's so many useful tools, and I feel like it's more important to just get out there and know people than to just learn it.
And frequently too, colleges have better tech than what you'll ever
That's
have. They've got the
definitely
budget.
true.
Like where we attended school, just upgraded their like recording studio and stuff.
so sad.
My
I
last
missed it.
semester, I got to experience their upgraded recording studio just a little bit,
Oh,
but not a lot. But it was like it's really high tech that I couldn't come across on my own. Not in 40 years, and by then I'm retiring. And, you know.
No, yeah, I graduated the semester before the new music building was complete at Brigham Young
Oh
University.
man.
I mean, I've gone to see it, and it's super nice. I do miss the HVAC though.
Nah.
I love
The
that
old
the Larson
building.
Gallery. The acoustics in there were amazing, man. Like they do at BYU in the music school. They do concerts at noon every Friday.
Okay.
And whenever I was free on Fridays, I just stand on the fifth, like the lobby in the HVAC before they tore it down. It was like, so the HVAC's 5 floors. Four of them are all open in this gallery.
Okay.
And so I would go up to the 5th floor and listen to the stuff that was being played on the 2nd floor. And oh man, or was it the 3rd floor?
Is the 3rd
It was
floor.
the okay, so floors 3, 4, and 5 were exposed to this hall. But
man.
anyway, oh man, those acoustics, man.
They're
Just
turning it into an
die
art
for.
building now.
Yeah, no, and that'll be cool to have the art people have their own building. I think they've been probably wanting that for a long time. I'd bet. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. For me, college. I'm very glad I went to college. Like same thing. I could have. Like music composition stuff, you can learn anywhere. But it's fun. Like music composition programs in college really have you dive very deep into avant-garde music. So like all of the stuff that sounds really crazy and like anxiety,
Microtones.
yeah,
and
microtones and 12 tone and all kinds.
complicated stuff that you wouldn't listen to on a Saturday
No.
afternoon.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, it's
Like Aphex Twin backlogs and stuff.
what was
Yeah,
that?
or
Like Aphex Twin.
yeah, or if you're doing sound design or like you're using music technology to write that music, they want you to like the sound design for that kind of music also is just so whack and
Yeah, like a lot of the music's just like, and that's like,
how does that make you feel?
no, really though, like some of it is really well thought out and intelligent, and I love it. And I'm also really happy I was able to study that, learn it, and it can be very useful.
Yeah.
A nice thing to pull out of the toolbox if I need it. Like a little tiny portion, like when you get the ear for it, it's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
I've got
98% of it though is anxiety.
I mean, and you have perfect pitch, right, Troy?
I do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That must be terrible for you, right?
It depends. So here's my thing. If something is in tune with itself, it's fine. Like even if it's not in a 440 concert pitch equal temperament tune. Like as long as things are in tune with themselves, I'm okay with it. Things getting out of tune, it depends. Like if it's supposed to be in tune and the piccolo is a half step flat.
And sometimes they write it that way on purpose, right?
No, in avant-garde, yeah, there'll be weird stuff. But the piccolo one comes from personal experience. I'm a trombone player in my high school band. We had one song we were playing. So one of the piccolo player was having a hard time, and it was difficult. But no, props because piccolo is a difficult instrument. But anyway, one of the professors at Brigham Young University, his name's Neil Thornock.
Okay.
And
I love that guy.
Oh my gosh, I love Neil. He dives super hard into microtones and mean tone tuning and like he has a piano that he made his own tuning system on, and like the octaves are tuned differently from each other. Anyway, it's the coolest thing. It's so cool to listen to.
I had a chance to play on that piano. Yeah, it's really cool.
No, it's so cool. So like I don't mind older tunings. They sound like there's a lot of really interesting things you can do with like tuning in 432 or using older tuning systems that aren't equal temperament. Which probably sounds like a lot of gibberish. That's perfectly fine. But no, I only really start going when like something is not in tune where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
anyway.
like college, you learn very interesting things. You might not. Like specifically me, I really wanted there to be audio programming stuff there, but I didn't learn anything of that regard. But like the networking and then the access to good technology is really why you should go, especially if you're going into a tech field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and honestly, it's really a case by case thing, whether or not you're doing like. For anyone who is going into something that is like a more normal, stable field, college it's a wonderful choice. Make sure you can pay off the loan. Like the colleges here in Utah are great, honestly, great schools, relatively affordable. I think Westminster's the most expensive here.
I don't know. No idea.
If I remember right, I think it's like $14,000 a semester. But like BYU's like $2,000 a semester. UVU's like $4,000 or $5,000 a semester. Or maybe it's 9. I can't remember. But
I'm sorry to anybody who's listening who lives in California or something in your college is expensive.
Like out of state stuff is like $35,000 a semester, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Oh man.
So yeah, definitely if you're looking at college, definitely look at the like how you're paying for it. Government grants are awesome if you can get that. But yeah, try Pell Grants are the best, honestly, because you don't have to pay that back. But that's FAFSA. Like you guys will. I think next year will probably be looking at FAFSA and SAT or ACT. Excuse me, not SAT.
I think we've deviated quite a bit from the original topic.
We have, but I mean it's good stuff. It's good stuff. But no, college, it's awesome. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I don't miss the homework. I do miss being surrounded by music nerddom all the time. Yeah. Probably gonna go back and get a master's degree like 5 or 10 years in the future. So.
Find out if you two Utah colleges are right for you. So what would you guys say is the most useful skill that you've earned before going into, like, what's the most useful skill that you've taken into this company?
It's one that I still don't feel I'm very good at, but being able to talk to people and like really connect with somebody. We have a gig at the moment, not paid. There's no specific deadline on it, that I managed to get for us just by telling somebody on LinkedIn that I liked how their game looked. They posted like a bit of gameplay, and it looks kind of like Castle Crashers. I don't know. I might just plug it here. I think it's called Radiant Guardians of Light or something like that. Yeah, and it's in its demo phase, but a game where you just fight a lot of bad guys, basically. And I told the guy, like, hey, your game looks really cool. Can we redo the sound design and music for the trailer? And he's like, yeah, sure. Here's the trailer link. Like, you're welcome to rip it, drop all the audio, and redo all the sound design. And I think that that'll give both Troy and I a good chance to work on that kind of stuff, but also to have more portfolio content for people to see this is what we sound like.
Yeah.
And that one I just got by saying, hey, I like your game. Yeah. So that kind of like being able to talk to somebody is, I think, in any field, regardless of what it is very important.
For sure.
And being able to like talk to them the right way, you know, like say, I like what you're doing, make them feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that'd probably be my choice. I mean, the music stuff I've learned is, that's pretty important. But like, it is honest. Like, you're often doing more business stuff in this than your music or sound stuff. I still have a lot of business things to learn. Starting this company is awesome for that. But honestly, it's just chatting with people. I love meeting people.
I was gonna say along those lines. I've heard from some people that to a point, it doesn't matter how good you are at your craft, as long as you're easy to work with. Because a client, someone you're working with, would rather have somebody who's mediocre but can get better at music, sound design, art, whatever it is, as long as you aren't giving them a headache trying to get deliverables in or whatever it is that you're working on, that you're easygoing and that you can be a friend rather than a headache, So whatever you guys plan on doing, whatever anyone plans on doing, be easygoing, be agreeable. Don't let people walk all over you, because that's another thing. But like, be easy to work with. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get to. I have like a kind of thought in my head. I don't think I'll be able to verbalize it right now, but I'm sure we'll get around to it. So,
yeah. Well, I think this is just a call out to all the people listening that you should stop sitting around in your basements and instead come talk to us on the podcast. We have a few slots open for summer. It's not too late to email us at nappodcastbusiness@gmail.com to come on the podcast. Please come on the podcast. Please.
No, it's super fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys are here.
I guess you can tell we're a little passionate about what we do too, because we might talk a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes your job easier, I guess.
It's definitely better to have people who have too much to say than people who have too little to say, because I'd rather be sitting here listening than grasping at straws trying to get someone to say anything.
That's all right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, tell us some of the stuff that you've done so far. You've told us about that trailer. This can be individual projects or stuff that you've done together, but what are some of the things
I actually haven't put
accomplished?
any work on the trailer except making the video for it, like removing the audio and exporting a video.
Yep, that'll be an upcoming thing. We have recently, it's just been getting like our website going, and we have a YouTube channel we haven't put anything on yet. We're brand new, so it's just all the startup stuff is kind of where we're at right now. But like we've done, like there's the 3 game jams we've done. Like there was one that was called Petrie Homer.
That one was a mess.
That one didn't quite get where we wanted it to, but it's
the idea behind the game was to make a beat 'em up like Castle Crashers or something, and most of the people on the team weren't very versed in video games. They didn't have a lot of experience in it. So we had one good programmer, and he made kind of something that sort of worked, but the basic gist of the game in the end was we didn't have any really good art assets. So we just found an asset of Homer Simpson, and he ran around this little petri dish and would smack little bacteria, and that was the gist of the game. And the best part of it was Troy's music, because that jazz he wrote for it was a bop.
No, that was a bop. I'm real proud of that tune. What was the one we did after that?
The one we did after that was the one we did the best in, where we placed kind of right smack dab in the middle of 1,500 contestants.
What was that game called?
So game jams usually come with a theme.
Yeah.
The Petrie Homer game jam, the theme was, it had something to do with size and changing size.
Yeah.
Originally, we wanted our character to be able to shrink to fight enemies at different levels.
It was like a science fair, and they were gonna it was gonna start in the petri dish and then
grow to fight humongous ants and stuff, and use like pencils and interesting things as your weapons.
Yeah.
But it was just way too much for the team that we had. So this next one, the theme was Calm Before the Storm. Okay. And the one programmer we had for that one had to dip. So I actually ended up making this game. and it was a game called A Monk's Quest for Soup.
That's a fun one. I did like a gamelan style, Balinese gamelan. Look it up. It's an amazing form of music from Bali, Indonesia. Very percussive and focuses on extreme dissonance.
So the idea behind this game was there was a monk who goes into his kitchen to get some like ramen noodle soup, like the monk, like a Buddhist monk. So he's got like the orange robe and he's carrying a staff and stuff. And it turns out all of his kitchenware has like woken up and is attacking him. So you have to fight through waves of kitchenware. And in between each wave, you have the chance to meditate to restore your health or your magical power. And that was kind of the calm before the storm, which was the theme for the game jam.
Yeah.
So you'd have a chance to be calm before more enemies came to attack you. And at the end, you'd fight your oven, which is this big monstrous oven shooting fire at you and stuff. And I maybe overdid it on that game jam because afterwards my mental health was in the mud because I was just I worked really hard to try and make that game work, and it still had all kinds of problems, of course, because it was only a week.
Yeah.
But that one was a good chance for us to really show off more sound design and stuff. And probably the first YouTube videos we'll be putting out are going to be some clips from that game. I've already clipped a bit of the boss fight with the oven. So though that'll be where we'll put some of our first stuff is like, hey, this is what we sound like. I was particularly proud of the sound design I did for the oven, this big like creaking, roaring, fiery kind of thing.
That's awesome.
And that was really, really fun to work on.
Josh, you want to talk about your process in sound design?
Sure. I can. The last game jam we did also kind of flopped a bit. The theme was reflections. I'm sorry. I want to talk about this one because it explains my process the best.
Yeah.
But our idea was to create this character that had a mirror and can reflect bullets that fly around to hit the enemies.
Oh, okay.
And it also kind of flopped because our artists weren't able to get all the art in when they needed to, and the programmers made just basically a concept. So it wasn't really a game. It was more of a concept. But when working on the sound for this game, I needed sounds for a number of things. And usually for a game jam, I'll come up with a big long list. Things like a reflection sound, a bullet hitting an enemy, the player getting hit by an enemy, and stuff like that. And basically what I will do is I'll take a look at the sounds that I'm needing. In this game jam specifically, I set the goal to record all of my own sound effects and not use any pre-built libraries because there's like thousands of libraries on the internet, some that you buy, some that are free, some that are only zombie noises, and some that are like every noise you could think of. And I thought to myself, no, I just want to use my sounds for this. So it was purely me. So because of that, I needed to do a decent recording. So I looked at things in my house. Okay, I don't know, a tiny piece of glass for a photo frame, or a bag of mushrooms was the funniest thing I recorded for this one. And I took them into my bedroom because that was the most like acoustically clean space I had.
Yeah.
My living room is kind of like here where it's very echoey. And I recorded a little bit of everything on a little handheld recorder device that I have. And then afterwards, I take it to my computer. I pull in all of the recordings, clean them up, try and find what I want and what I don't want. And then I put them all together with each other. So when the player got hit in this video game, a couple of different sounds played. A sound of a mostly eaten bag of tortilla chips. I would like hit it and it would make this kind of sound, and the bag of mushrooms to give kind of a thumpy sound, and a couple other sounds. I just put them all together and exported that, and that was the player getting hit, and it ended up sounding kind of like a rock or something getting hit by a hammer. And that was what the player hit sounded like. Afterwards, I used another program called Fmod that is one of those programs that you use to put the audio into the game. And I used that to put the audio into the game and listen to it. And then using Fmod was able to tweak it to make sure it sounded how I wanted it to. So then every single time an enemy would come and hit the player, it would play that sound. And Fmod also allows you to provide a certain amount of variability. So each time the player is hit, it sounds slightly different than the time before. That way you're not just over and over again hearing the exact same thing. That gets obnoxious.
Yeah. So for what you do, it's if you were recording all of your sound effects, would it all be practical? Like you use objects around you to make all your sound effects?
That's when Troy was talking about Foley, that's basically what Foley is using objects to create your sound effects. You don't do that in every scenario. Like
That's
if you're
usually
making
like cutscenes, I think.
Yeah. If you're making a game that is more niche, that is like futuristic, like it's a sci-fi video game,
Yeah.
you're going to want to use more synthesizers to create your sound effects, because then you can get those like laser noises and stuff like that that are a lot harder to come by from the real world.
Okay.
But using your own recordings it can be very, very effective as well. I think that the sound design for that game turned out really good. Mm-hmm. Really good. Yeah, that's kind of my process. I make a sound, I put it all together. I record or use a synthesizer to design a sound. I put it together with another sound. I put it into the game. And it flows really nicely. So, yeah, that's kind of what my process looks like.
Cool.
Some of my favorite things I've ever recorded, before Troy and I got together, I participated in a Halloween-themed game jam. We created this really spooky monster. Once again, the game was meh, but we created this really spooky monster that had all kinds of spikes down its back and this big, scary open mouth. And is like, well, this monster needs really, really scary noises that it makes. So I took a bit of the fried rice I made for dinner and filled my mouth with it and then just screamed into a microphone for like 15, 20 minutes to get a couple of different varieties of sounds. And I think they turned out pretty good. Since then, I have worked on, or like just for fun, like tried to figure out how to do monster sounds. When I went to GDC, the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, I attended a talk by a guy who runs a monster company. Like they just do monster vocals, and he was like incredible. He used to, or maybe still is a death metal artist. So you see the overlap there. He's got the screams that he can do, but because of that, I kind of went on a little tangent to do some redesigning of the sound effects for one of my favorite video games. It's called Project Zomboid. It's a zombie survival video game. Oh, yeah. And basically I re-recorded the zombie noises and like was redoing the sound for it. And I don't know, do you want to hear my zombie?
I would love nothing
I
more.
might scoot back a little bit from the microphone so I don't.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, do it.
That's a zombie.
That's impressive.
It's pretty scary. But yeah, that kind of stuff is always so much fun for me to record. So
I believe it.
Bit of stuff that I've worked on. Maybe at some point we will get the chance to work on something like that together that's more spooky.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. It's funny though. Just the thing about me, I can't do scary thriller horror stuff. Or like music wise, I'm sure I could. And if a project came my way, of course, I'd probably say yes to it. But, yeah, I don't do well in thrillers and horror movies. It's just a funny tidbit. But anyway, projects for me, same stuff as Josh. the bop that he was talking about for the one we did last November. It was kind of like a jazz thing. And so that was the theme I ran with. It just got some bass going boom, 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 boom. Kind of just this thumping bass line underneath. And that one was fun. There's a couple of like personal projects. Like I have a client I'm working on something with. It's funny though. And this I get this will illustrate part of the process for composing pretty well. Like so there's GDC this year. I've worked as a conference associate at Game Developers Conference for 3 years now.
That means he does all of he helps make sure the conference runs smoothly.
Yeah, there's like 450 of us, and we're just we'll be assigned to rooms to make sure, badging, make sure people are getting in that need to, and
make sure nothing sketchy's going
on.
on.
Make sure nothing sketchy going on, and then just in general, mostly it's just generally directing people around. But the conference associate group is a really awesome team. Honestly, probably from what the director says, it's one of the best networking opportunities you can have in the whole game industry, because you have anyone there from starving students all the way up to industry vets that you can just chat with. And
it's a way for people to attend this really expensive conference without breaking the bank as much.
Yeah. There's some less expensive tickets you can get, but if you're a conference associate, you get
access to everything,
free pass for free.
Yeah. My parents paid for my ticket because there was no way that I could have afforded it. Unfortunately, it's another barrier of entry to the game industry, that you kind of have to have a little bit of money in order to make it to those great conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
But
there's also things you can do, like just, I know we're on a little bit of an aside. If you're getting into the game industry, highly recommend a Game Developers Conference, or if that's something that ever comes across your
there's
radar.
Also
but
local,
there's local things you can go
stuff.
to, like just different mixers that people will host outside of GDC, but they're GDC
There's
adjacent.
a monthly one here where we live that goes on every month. I haven't been able to go in a while, but I've wanted to, just to say, hey, we've got Mountain Totem Audio here and we can do your audio, because, well, not specifically that, but just to meet more people again. And that local one is just fun because you just meet up with a bunch of like-minded people who love video games and are trying to make them. So
local
awesome.
Game dev communities. There's Timpanogos Game Devs here in Utah County, Salt Lake Game Devs up north where I'm at. And there's also Utah Game Audio that I go to. All those groups are amazing. But anyway, so being a conference associate at GDC, end of each year we have this postmortem drawing where people donate stuff and everyone gets a bunch of different things. But I donated 5 30-second free custom tracks just for whoever picked them up. And so I did my first one, or I'm in the process of doing my first of those 5. So I came up with a melody for that. Sometimes I'll improvise straight into my DAW, just kind of dink around on my keyboard and try and come up with something. But I'm not great at improvising. So recently I have been utilizing paper more. I like just doing different things kind of inspires me to write music in different ways. Like whistling is particularly good for melodies, or if I'm just like using pencil and paper, that tends to be a good way for me to really think about what I'm writing. Or if I'm just improvising, it's just blah, 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 just kind of going straight in. But so I come up with this idea, I flesh it out, we're kind of communicating a little bit, and then I send the semi-final iteration, and my client felt like it was a little too whimsy, and I think it's because of course I don't have anything to show, like, or I can't show the audio here, but there's some flutes kind of doing some, so it's very chromatic, flute and piccolo paralleling each other in octaves. And so there's kind of a bit of whimsy to that. And then there's some other stuff going on underneath. But there was a big gap in the middle, and I think that was where that was coming from. And so he was like, yeah, let's see if we can work on this a little. And so I added some stuff in the middle, and he's like, I'm not quite feeling it. And this is a totally normal part of work.
The back and forth.
Yeah, the back and forth, working with the director. And my plan now is actually to put this current track that I did to the side and start again, see if I can better mirror the idea he's having me do. He sent me some reference tracks, and it's funny. Film and video games, reference tracks can kind of be the bane of a composer's existence, but they're also very helpful. So, but yeah, I learned that just big part of the process in any freelancing discipline like this is just learning to communicate. And so, anyway, that's been fun. And now I have something that I can. If I don't end up using that track that we're not feeling the best about, I can put it somewhere else, Yeah. And so, but yeah, that's one project I did. There's also another team of other CAs that I'm working with, and actually next week we're going to be attempting to finish a demo of a game called Cartificer. And it's like a deck builder dungeon crawler game.
Okay.
So I have some music I've done for that. We'll do a little more and get our first level out hopefully relatively soon. But then both Josh and I are working with my brother-in-law, who's been making a game for the last few years called Reflection of Shadow. That one's a long ways out, but we're just kind of getting. We're in the middle of getting the first bits going, and
Nice.
yeah, Josh has joined on the team. We've been working on this for a few years, and brought Josh on to help with sound design, and so that'll be something we have going as well. Yeah, so who knows when those things will be coming, but if they do, we will be posting them on our website. So
Yeah. Well, let
And
us know
updates
over
and
here.
stuff.
We're always happy to announce stuff that's coming out. So if you have anything coming out, let us know, and we'll give updates on here.
Cool.
What would you say is the best and worst parts of what you guys are doing?
Well, I think probably start with the worst part is job stability. And especially with the game industry right now, it is a mess. Huge mess.
Some companies last year alone laid off like 10,000 people.
Just 2 or 3 days ago, EA laid off an entire studio.
Oh
Yeah, they just drop studios. If a game doesn't perform how they want it to, they'll just cut the studio. Like big companies will do that kind of thing nowadays, and it's really sad and kind of scary.
Yeah. In the last 3 years, it is estimated that more, and this statistic is from last year. It's probably worse now, but more than 1/3 of the entire industry has been laid off.
Oh my god!
And it's crazy. People blame it on corporate greed. The big wigs taking huge checks and whatever. I mean, part of it's probably, I think, also the post COVID boom is kind of tapering down.
Yeah.
And so that's affecting things, and there's a lot of factors going on, but it's even without that, it's a pretty rocky place to be. I mean, freelancing is just hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition and stuff. I did say at the beginning, my day job is audiobooks, and even that company, we had to lay off. They had to lay off like 10 or 15% of our staff because one of our publishers said nah. And I was lucky enough to have released, or like finished this really big piece of tech that I'd made specifically for the company a couple days before they announced the layoffs. So I want to say that that's what like pushed me over the line of not being on the chopping block.
Oh man.
But yeah, there's that kind of that job stability thing where even if I know I'm doing a good job, like I still have this like gut feeling that at some point they're just going to cut me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be scrambling again and going to have to run for Amazon again or whatever. That's what I did before I got the audiobooks gig. Or somehow we're going to have to magically pull something out of our rears for our company we're working on together. But Troy's mentality of like, we've got 40 years has always been in the back of my mind is, okay, I can take a chill. Like I can sit, I can think about it. I can just do my best. And as long as I'm continuing to do my best, I will move from being a junior level sound designer to a mid-level or a senior level eventually. And eventually those positions will come and we will find work and it'll happen. Yeah. It's kind of scary to see all these people losing their jobs over this.
It is interesting though, and this is mostly AAA studios where these layoffs are happening. It's giving a really big space for indie games to kind of come through and take a lot of that glory, you know.
Yeah.
Like there are some bigger indie studios like Larian that did
Baldur's Gate
3.
Oh wow.
They're an indie studio. From Software that did all the what are those games called? I'm forgetting right now.
I don't know.
The Souls games, Dark Souls, Bloodborne,
yeah,
Sekiro, Elden Ring.
Oh, wow.
Those guys are an indie studio.
Oh, and Chinese studios have also made quite an appearance because they can do everything for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, like the guys that did Black Myth Wukong. That's a Chinese studio. Expedition 33, I think is
really.
I don't know. I don't know what studio.
Marvel Rivals is a Chinese game.
Oh, really?
Chinese developed. Yeah, there was a small team that did some extra work here in the States that unfortunately was laid off. But
oh man,
yeah, right. But like they released this great game and they're like goodbye. That also happens a lot where you're hired on only for the game. Once the game
contract work is pretty common.
Once the game happens, you could even be given a full-time position. They won't say this is a contract, but once the game is done, they don't need you anymore, so you're cut.
Yeah, so the job stability is something really to think about. Even any music in general is tough. You just have to be prepared for dry spells and scrambling with whatever you can to get work. My plan right now, I'm working on an online certificate in QA engineering
that's quality assurance.
Yeah, quality assurance. So like software testing and stuff. I'm working on that. So, it's to broaden my skill set, but also to have something I can support my family with. I also am a father of 2 kids, and something I can support my family with until this takes off. It's something that doesn't get talked about enough in the music industry or in video games or, in these unstable career paths. Like, it's really often dissuaded from people are often like, no, you can't. Having a day job will take your focus away from your true passion and all that. And it's not true. It is super duper not true. So many people I know here in Utah and elsewhere, like we have day jobs to while we're getting started or while we're in the middle of things, and that's an important thing to think about. If for anyone who would want to choose this path or a similar path with this kind of instability, is to have a plan on
where you can find some stability.
Yeah, and being okay with doing something that's not your passion. Like right now for us, this is kind of it's passion work. It's
we put in an hour here, an hour there, 2 hours here, 2 hours where time allows. We put in some work here, but we're busy people, so
yeah, it is totally okay to like do something else while doing your passion on the side, that stigma can go away. It can die in a hole.
Yeah.
So
I think
but yeah, so
that's
that's kind of the more or less the negatives. Positives, just the creativity. Being creative is so much fun. Getting through the stuff, like music, and I don't know about sound design, but music is very similar. It's similar to animation and how long it takes for how little you get out.
Yeah.
I'll 8 hours of work will give me a minute of music.
Dang.
If I'm working well.
Troy's good. He makes
I'm
really
not very
good stuff.
fast, but thank you. I do appreciate that.
You can tell he puts in a lot of effort to it because it sounds really good.
No, it's so much fun, honestly. Just, and my particular, I know you had a question. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Like my particular enjoyment with video games. I mean, there's the dynamic bit that Josh was talking about earlier. I love the dynamic nature of video games. I love that you're putting yourself into the shoes of the, where a movie you're just watching what's happening. Video game, you are doing the stuff and watching it. Like you're watching it, but you're putting in the inputs and doing all the stuff. And
Yeah.
but the story aspect of video games is, it is powerful. Holy cow. Game I would highly recommend, maybe not at your guys' age, but when you're a little older. It's called Nier Automata, Nier.
Okay.
It is a masterpiece of a game. It just the world, like the world building, the sound design and music, everything, the narrative, all feels like part of a whole. It is a seamless blend of all the disciplines. The gameplay is butter. It is amazing. It is also extremely depressing. So be prepared if you decide to play this game in the future. But
I've cried many a time playing video games for sure.
Oh my gosh,
with those good stories.
That one, but the interesting thing with that game in particular, to kind of wrap your head around what is going on, there are books. Like there is a book of short stories to read that goes along with the game, or it doesn't come with the game. You kind of just find it on the internet separately.
Yeah.
Well, like just the mixing of mediums, mixing of storytelling mediums is really, really cool. Also helps you come to terms with the game because, oh my goodness, it's depressing. But it's so good.
Throughout my teen years and into my adult life, have explored a variety of different storytelling tactics because I think at heart I've always been a storyteller.
Yeah.
Something I do is just come up with stories in my head. And most of them never leave my head, but some of them have made it places. So for me, I've just found the medium that I'm best at. Throughout middle school and high school, I tried writing books, and they didn't really make it very far, but I could put my stories out that way. Then I got into music, and I did write a number of songs and got out some stories that way. They were never really any good. Came to college. I wanted to do composition like Troy does and realized quickly that it was a competitive field and that it took a lot more work than I was willing to put in. But out of college, I wrote a radio drama.
Oh, wow.
And wrote the entire thing and produced it all myself, hired a few voice actors, and it was a banger and really good, but nobody knows about it because I didn't really advertise it or anything or tell anybody except my close friends. Like, hey, I made this and it's really good.
Can we go?
Yeah, you probably have to find a link, but if you search on Spotify, I think Spotify podcasts, you can find a podcast called Touching Stars is what I called it, and it only has one episode, which is my radio drama. Maybe I'll make more in the future, but that was a lot of work once again, and time is short and it feels like we need to put more time into Mountain Totem Audio. Mm-hmm. But that was like the big moment where I realized that sound design is my best storytelling medium at the moment. And games, like Troy said, have such incredible stories that make it so that each sound has to be very carefully catered to the nature of the game. A gunshot in Red Dead Redemption is going to sound so much different than a gunshot in Last of Us, even if it's the exact same gun.
Yeah.
Because Last of Us, that gun is old. It's the theme or the ambiance is scared. The gun in Red Dead Redemption is maybe a little dirty, but it's shot by a brave or like a capable cowboy. So those two gunshots sound so much different, and that idea that that storytelling and catering the sound to fit the medium and the story is incredible to me. Because of that, I've thought about it a couple of times before, like, would I drop this and be a software developer? Because I can program. I've learned a lot of how to do that on my own and from classes in high school and stuff. Would I drop this and go design websites with HTML? Or would I drop this and go be a software developer at Apple or something more stable? Yeah. And every single time I think that, I just think, I don't think I can.
That makes sense.
I can't see myself leaving what I'm doing right now because it's, like Troy said, it's just too much fun.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, just one more thing. When you're creative, and you know this is the only thing that you really truly will be happy with doing, you're crazy enough that you're like, okay, I'm okay with the negatives that this comes with. I will deal with them, but I'm gonna enjoy it, and so. It takes a special type to kind of do this.
Yeah.
I am more than okay with calling myself crazy. It's the way of the composer, probably the way of other audio people too. We're crazy. We're cool with it. It's fun. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're about out of time, but thank you guys for coming on. It's been a great time. I'm glad we got to. I learned a whole lot of this episode.
Yay.
It's just so much. Brad, do you have any last minute thoughts?
No.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. Is there anywhere that we can find you? Do you want to link to anything here?
Sure. You can find us on our fledgling website, mountaintotemaudio.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Troy Giebel, Giebel. I have an Instagram, like a public Instagram is Troy the Composer. Also my personal website, troygiebelcomposer.com.
Got it.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn as well. That's the social media I use the most. My name is Joshua Cloward, spelled Cloward. I think my personal website is called Cloud Sounds, Clowd Sounds, and it might be it's a GoDaddy site because I didn't buy a subscription when I made it. But and like I said, if you want to listen to my audio drama, you can look up on Spotify podcasts Touching Stars, and the name of the drama is The Music Box.
Cool.
And I would highly suggest listening to it. It's 18 minutes. It's
nice.
It's really good. It's probably my best piece of work, but like I said, a lot of times people's best pieces of work don't make it to the people that need to hear them because spread of word of mouth is not as fast as you'd want it to be sometimes.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. We are working on a merch store and a Patreon, which will both be out soon. So if you want to buy a t-shirt or you want bonus episodes that we're going to start putting out, check our Instagram, or I guess we'll probably put the links in the Spotify once they're done. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you in about...
Wait, we got to do the thing.
Oh, yeah.
We got to do the thing.
Yeah, we'll see you all in 2 weeks, but as we like to say to end every episode of this podcast, asparagus.
Asparagus.